Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for Fantasy Premier League content for the 2021-22 season. My name is Dan and welcome to a Game Week 32 video all about the future game weeks, well, future double game weeks and blank game weeks that we might find out about. In this video, guys, I am going to be predicting with as best accuracy as I possibly can where the remaining doubles and blanks are going to be. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm going to commit to a full prediction of where every fixture might be. I'm going to show you my workings. I'm going to try and get as accurate as possible, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the double game weeks and blank game weeks that might come up and what we can kind of do around them, what chips we can use, what kind of players we could be targeting for those game weeks. So we're going to get in there nice and early, guys. We're going to have this advantage of this information before all of our rivals by predicting the future. Yeah, let's go. Hopefully this is a really good one, guys. If you don't mind liking the video, if you do find this video helpful, I would massively appreciate that. Really helps out the channel. And of course, subscribe if you're new around here and you like this kind of stuff. Yeah, do stay tuned. But without further ado, guys, let's bring up the table. So guys, like I say, in this video, I'm going to give my best guess as to where all of the remaining doubles and blanks will be. I'm going to show you my logic step by step, so if you disagree with anything, or if you think that maybe, some circumstances change, certain teams get knocked out of cups and different game weeks become available for, to have doubles there, you're going to be able to work this out for yourself, where fixtures can possibly go. So it's not just about where they'll go, it's about where can they go. I think it's really, really important actually to understand the lay of the land and where fixtures could go, rather than just blindly looking at prediction. I think it's really useful to try and have the ability to a degree, work it out yourself. And that way, when things change, when things adapt, you can stay on top of the ball, you can be on the ball and stuff like that. So this video, I think it's going to give you a huge advantage over your friends and rivals for the remaining weeks of FPL, basically. And I think, yeah, I think this is going to be a really good one. It's certainly been really helpful for me for trying to work out the lay of the land and where I'm going to use my chips and what kind of players I'm going to be targeting. So guys, you can see on screen, all confirmed fixtures are already in there. They're already on the screen, including the already confirmed blanks like Villa, Leeds and Wolves, obviously blank in 33. That's already in there. So Game Week 32 and Game Week 33, because 32 is like now and 33 is very, very soon in the future, I don't think there's going to be any changes there. There really is no reason to make any further changes to those two game weeks. So 32 and 33 are going to stay exactly the same. Game Week 38, that's also going to stay exactly the same. It is the final final day of the season. All games are played at the exact same time on a Sunday, and there's never any changes on Game Week 38. There's never any blanks. There's never any doubles, other than like in crazy circumstances, like I don't know, there's like a huge snowstorm or something. But at the end of May in the UK, there's not usually a huge a snowstorm or anything like that. So we can accurately predict that Game Week 32, 33, and 38 are going to stay exactly the same as they are now. However, Game Week 34 through Game Week 37, now that is where there's some potential for some change, because there's loads of midweek slots here that I've basically left as blank slots. You can see on screen, I've left blank slots after each of the fixtures that each team has after their 34 fixture, their 35 fixture, the 36 fixture, and their 37 fixture. So these are where possible double game weeks can occur. And the goal of this video is basically to move all of these fixtures that you see in the unscheduled column there. On the right there, you can see there's a load of unscheduled fixtures. We're going to try and move them, all of them, into the blank slots that you see in front of you now. Now, right now, that might sound like a bit of a guessing game, but we can use cup game fixture clashes, predicted results, and trends from previous seasons, to actually predict with varying degrees of where these fixtures are going to go and actually try and get a pretty accurate representation. So let's get on with that. So the first tool that we're going to use to kind of help pinpoint our predictions is to add the cup clashes, where cup games will be played in the midweek slots. The UCL, the Champions League, should I say, the Europa League and the Europa Conference League semi-finals, all of those European competitions, the semi-finals, they're going to take place in the midweek slots of Game Week 34 and 35. So therefore, any team that makes it through to that stage of the tournament will be unable to double in 34 or 35 because they will already have a European fixture in that slot. So this potentially includes Chelsea, Liverpool and Man City. They're in the Champions League, as you guys know. West Ham are in the Europa League and Leicester are in the Europa Conference League. If they don't make it through, technically they can double in 34, but it's more likely to be 35 because that's a little bit further in the future. I think they could double in 35, any of these teams, if they get knocked out of their respective tournaments in the quarterfinals. But these kind of fixtures will only go in there if they absolutely have to, because it's kind of unlikely, just because UEFA, they don't really like it when high-profile Premier League games are played at the same time as their game, as it kind of impacts the viewership on the European competitions, but it also impacts the viewership on the Premier League games, and it's all about viewership at the end of the day in TV companies, so they try and avoid clashes as much as they possibly can. It should be noted here, guys, that you might see this already, but the Europa League final is also due to take place in the midweek slots of Game Week 37, which is pretty bizarre. So if West Ham do somehow reach the Europa League final, that means they can't double in Game Week 37. So just something of note there. The FA Cup final also takes place in Game Week 37, but technically this game will be played at the weekend, not in the weekday slot, not in the midweek slot. So we can kind of switch these around. Chelsea play Palace and Liverpool play City in the semis. So one of Chelsea or Palace and one of Liverpool or City will not be able to double in Game Week 37, as they will be playing in the final on Saturday during Game Week 37. If so, they could postpone their Game Week 37 scheduled games by a few days into the midweek slot, which would be probably the most likely outcome. That's kind of what you're seeing on screen right now, guys. Alternatively, they could move them completely, which would be a little bit weirder. But for the purpose of this graphics, I've switched the fixtures around this way, but I'm going to switch them back in just a second, just because I just want to give an idea of that. Actually, the FA Cup, even though we think of cup competitions as being midweek slots, the FA Cup technically would be at the weekend, which would move the Premier League game to the midweek. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, don't worry, I'm switching it back now anyway. So the first fixture I'm actually going to move today is the Spurs versus Arsenal game. I'm going to put that into Game Week 36. There has been heavy rumours, supposedly from inside sources, saying that this game will take place in the penultimate week before the final day of the season. And separate rumours saying that the game will take place on Thursday, the 12th of May. Both of those separate rumours suggest that this game is going to be in Game Week 36. This would make sense anyway, to be fair. Even without a rumour, that's where you would predict the game to go, with or without the rumour, just because Game Week 36 is the only remaining game week this season where there are no cup games played in the midweek slot or at the weekend. So there's no cup games whatsoever during Game Week 36. This is the designated week to put those double game weeks in every single year. There's 1 week where there's no cup games happening in that week. That is the automatic, that's where you assume games will go if they can, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. So unscheduled games going to go here wherever possible. Therefore, with the rumours and with the fact that it makes a lot of sense. We don't have to put the Arsenal versus Spurs game anywhere else. The only other place we could maybe put it is 37, but we're going to put it in 36. I think that's pretty accurate. I'm pretty happy with that one. Now, some games like Chelsea versus Leicester, that unscheduled game, it pretty much places itself. That game will go into 36 because both Chelsea and Leicester have a good chance of getting to the European semis. That will rule out 34 and 35. And Chelsea could easily reach the FA Cup final since they play Crystal Palace in the semis, which would rule out Game Week 30. That would rule out Game Week 37 as a possible double for them. So Game Week 36 is the only game week where this game can 100% be played. You may have also noticed a small problem that Chelsea still have one unscheduled fixture there, and there's nowhere to put it. I will address this shortly, don't worry. But this game places itself. It makes so much sense. Chelsea versus Leicester into Game Week 36. Nice and easy. This also allows us to put Leicester's other unscheduled game into Game Week 37 because there's guaranteed to be no clash in Game Week 37 for either Leicester or Norwich. Neither of those teams are in the FA Cup, so that can easily slot in there, and this would give Leicester a double-double in 36 and 37. So if you are thinking about getting players that you want, double-doubles for, also Leicester, we know, have a double game week in 33. These 3 doubles that they can have, 33, 36 and 37, we need to be going for maybe some nailed-on players because we know Leicester are going to be prioritised the cup competition that they're in, the Conference League. So in that sense, Kasper Schmeichel. It would be good to get Peter Schmeichel in, but no, Kasper Schmeichel could be a good player to go in because we know he's really nailed on. So as a goalkeeper, Schmeichel looks like a really, really good pick, especially for that double-double in 36 and 37. Aside from that, it's kind of difficult to pinpoint which Leicester players are going to be nailed. Even Barnes and Maddison, there could be a bit of rotation there, but they might be worth going for as well for these fixtures. We can also put Aston Villa versus Liverpool in game week 36 because Liverpool, they have a good chance of beating Benfica in the UCL quarters. This would mean that they couldn't double in 34 or 35 because Liverpool would be in the semi-finals of the Champions League. Liverpool also have a good chance of going to the FA Cup final in game week 37 if they beat City in the semis. Therefore, it makes sense to schedule this game in the pre-designated slot, the only slot where this game is guaranteed to be able to play. There's no doubts about it. This game can definitely be played in game week 36. So let's put it in there. Makes sense again, guys. The doubles you see on screen, by the way, at this point in the video, I would say I am 90% confident in. I'm really confident about these ones that you see so far. So looking at this table so far, I think you can pretty much start planning, assuming that these are correct. After this, we are going to have to take a few liberties, so bear with me, guys. We are going to have to make some predictions. We are going to have to use a bit of guesswork. I can't tell you that the rest of the fixtures are going to be super accurate, but we can still give our best guess, which is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you my logic behind it. Maybe you'll agree, maybe you'll disagree, but let's see what we can do and try and fit in the rest of these fixtures and give a definitive prediction, because that's what this is all about, really. So first of all, let's try and kind of address the Chelsea situation. Now, the easiest solution would be if Chelsea get knocked out by Real Madrid in the Champions League quarterfinals. That would mean that their unscheduled game versus Leeds could slot into game week 35. This would give Chelsea a double-double in 35 and 36, and everything would be amazing. This would be really easy. If Madrid knock Chelsea out, I believe this will be their remaining fixture schedule. Locked, done, confirmed. I think this is exactly what it would look like. This I would be pretty confident in if Madrid knock out Chelsea from the Champions League. However, since Chelsea are the favourites, the favourites to beat Madrid and progress in the tournament, I think for the sake of this prediction, we do have to pursue other options. The other option would be to put the Leeds versus Chelsea game in game week 37. So if Palace knock out Chelsea from the FA Cup, this would be where the fixture should go regardless of the Champions League result. That would put Palace in the final and Chelsea would have a free slot in game week 37 to add that Leeds fixture in there. However, if Chelsea reach the FA Cup final, as long as they are also in the UCL final, they should still double in game week 37 regardless, as this is going to be technically the best place to put the fixture, as there's quite a big gap between game week 37 and game week 38, because game week 38 games are all played on a Sunday. Game week 37, that game could be played on a Saturday, maybe even a Friday. That is a possibility there. But what would happen here, guys, basically is if the FA Cup final, Chelsea are in it, that's going to be on the Saturday. Their next game in the Premier League would be game week 38 on a Sunday. It would pretty much be a nightmare scenario, but it would have to be the case. Like there would be no other choice, because Chelsea would be playing in all other midweek slots. This would be the only choice. They'd have to play loads of games. It would be a situation where Chelsea would play in the FA Cup final on Saturday. They play their 2 game week 37 fixtures on Tuesday and Thursday during game week 37, and then they play their final game week 38 fixture on Sunday. Super busy. It would be seriously heavy rotation with a game being played every 2 days pretty much. So that would be, kind of, if that was the situation, Chelsea keep progressing through in all of their cup competitions. Yeah, this would be pretty bad for rotation, and even though that would be a double game week, it would be a really weird double game week, because you can imagine Chelsea prioritising the cup competitions and just not wanting to injure their players in a super busy fixture schedule. So yeah, either way, 37 is the most likely double for Chelsea. That's kind of the most likely scenario, because it can be here under several situations. If Chelsea lose in the FA Cup, if Chelsea win in the Champions League and win in the FA Cup, both of those scenarios would still put Chelsea's double game week in 37. It's just going to be a case of how busy it's going to be, and that's going to depend on whether they beat Crystal Palace or lose to Crystal Palace in the FA Cup. So yeah, that's where I'm going to put my prediction. I'm going to predict that Chelsea go through in the Champions League and therefore double in 37. That's what will happen if they stay in the Champions League. Crazy. Now, Man City and West Ham in Game Week 37 is a really weird situation. City have a chance of reaching the FA Cup final, as you guys know, and that's going to be in the same game week as West Ham have a chance to reach the Europa League final. But because the FA Cup final is at the weekend on a Saturday and the Europa League final is in the midweek, this would mean that the two teams couldn't play each other in the Premier League as their schedules aren't aligned. When Man City want to play West Ham, they'll be in the FA Cup final. When West Ham want to play Man City, they'll be in the the Europa League. So they just don't match up. This would be an absolute disaster for the Premier League so late on in the season, because you can't reschedule that game thereafter that. You can't reschedule the game after Game Week 38. It's just not possible. The season ends after Game Week 38 concludes. So I think if West Ham beat Lyon in the quarterfinals of the Europa League, which is pretty likely, that is going to be enough to convince the Premier League to actually move the Man City fixture to Game Week 37 just in case of a disaster, because it really would be an absolute disaster if Man City reached the FA Cup final and West Ham reached the Europa League final. It would be a disaster from the Premier League. So they'll get ahead of it and they'll move that fixture back one game week to Game Week 36, where both teams have an available slot there in the midweek. So that would also mean that Man City's unscheduled fixture against Wolves would have to move to Game Week 37, because that's the only guaranteed remaining slot available for them. That could be in the midweek, even if Man City were to play in the FA Cup final. So that would mean that Man City would double in 36 and Wolves would double in 37. And yes, that's right, it would mean that we have one more blank game week in the 2021-22 season. I'm sure you guys are sick of blank game weeks by now. But yes, this would create a blank game week for West Ham in 37 to compensate for their newly created double game week in Game Week 36. So I'm going to move Everton versus Crystal Palace to Game Week 36 now. Technically, if Palace lose to Chelsea in the FA Cup, this fixture could go into Game Week 37 too. But since I'm trying to create my best guess, and I know for certain that this fixture can go in Game Week 36, that's where I'm going to put it. This creates a really nice double actually for Palace versus Watford and Everton. Nailed on players like Tyrick Mitchell, maybe Wilfried Zaha if you're feeling kind of spicy. They could be really good to go for here. Maybe Mateta if you're kind of on a bench boost and you just want that budget forward in your team. You want that bench boost in Game Week 36. Mateta could be an option there. And yeah, that would actually conclude the Game Week 36 double game week fixtures. So you can see there, guys, 10 teams, so half of the Premier League teams would be doubling in Game Week 36 if this is accurate. That's pretty insane. That would be the biggest double game week of the season. This is a perfect game week to use your chip. And I would pretty much say, guys, that if you have any chips remaining whatsoever, make sure you use them, or one of them, in this game week, because you can see as well, guys, it's the big teams that double. You can see all of the big teams double. Chelsea are doubling there, City, Arsenal, Spurs, Liverpool, of course. All of the big teams of the Manchester United are doubling in that game week, so really significant. Even West Ham potentially doubling there as well. So yeah, that's going to be a huge, enormous double game week that is so important to target, and I think this is pretty much what it's going to look like as well. And although technically the remaining fixtures could be played in Game Week 34 and 35, again, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to put them into Game Week 37. There's kind of two schools of thought here, I think. They could either go in Game Week 34 or 35, just to get these fixtures out the way nice and early, just in case of postponements, or we can avoid TV clashes with UEFA and put them in 37, keeping all governing bodies and TV companies very happy. And that's kind of what I'm leaning towards at the moment. So that would create a pretty significant... a lot of teams doubling in Game Week 37 there. Unfortunately, that double game week doesn't look so good. Only Chelsea are the only team, the big team that are doubling there. A lot of the teams that would be doubling, therefore, in 37 would be pretty weak teams, to be honest. You know, you can see Watford there, Norwich there, Leeds there, Everton. So although they are double game weeks, it's kind of like meh. It's like a meh double game week. Would you really want to target all of these players anyway? Probably not. So guys, let's tidy up this table a little bit, and I can now pretty much present to you my best guess of where the remaining doubles and blanks will go this season. It will not be 100% accurate. In fact, it's probably only going to be, for the double game week placement, probably going to be about 60, 70, maybe 80% accurate if we do really well here, since, you know, there's just so many factors that haven't been decided yet, and that's mostly going to be cup competition results. But if you need to start planning transfers and chip strategies now, I think this is a really useful rough guide on what we might expect to see. I think also let's have a quick look at these predicted double game weeks as well, because you know, there's a lot to unpack here. This is a great image, and there's just a lot to look at. So you can see Game Week 36, very good double. All of the big teams doubling other than Manchester United. So this is just the best, most amazing game week to target here. It looks like a phenomenal double game week. You know, even seeing Man City double in 36 is going to be absolutely awesome. So yeah, load up on those players. Think about bench boosting. Think about free hitting potentially, maybe even a triple captain if that's all you've got left. This is the week to do it. It looks a really phenomenal double game week, guys. Game Week 37. potential trap double game week, because even though there's a lot of teams doubling there, not as many as 36, but still quite a few teams, the only big team to double in 37 would be Chelsea, and they're going to heavily rotate, particularly if they're involved in other competitions. Other teams in Game Week 37 could also rotate by this point, because, you know, we get to this stage of the season and a lot of teams have nothing left to play for. You know, if they've got no chance of European football and they've got no chance of relegation, they're going to start rotating heavily. They're going to start trying out some of their youth players and stuff like that, and therefore it's going to be hard to target players. It's going to be hard to find nailed on players for Game Week 37, other than maybe goalkeepers. But these days, even goalkeepers rotate when teams have nothing to play for. So yeah, that's going to be a really, really tricky one. I would advise not going too hard on Game Week 37, even though it is seemingly a big double game week. Also should say, Aston Villa, Chelsea, Everton and Leicester, they would have doubles. So they would have doubles in both 36 and 37. So it may be worth actually picking up some of their more nailed on players. So overall, that is looking really good. You can also see here, guys, that some teams just have amazing schedules of fixtures. You know, we've got Arsenal there who have got a double in 33 and then more in 36. You can see the Spurs have a really nice run of fixtures and then maybe not such a nice game week 36 double. So I don't know, maybe you want to actually hop off some Tottenham players in 36 and maybe target some other players potentially there. West Ham could be really nice for that double. One of their double game weeks is against Norwich. I think Man City, we have to have Cancelo in our team for this run of fixtures, particularly after this Liverpool game. Cancelo is just pretty much, you just need him in your team. They're going to be competing with Liverpool as well for the Premier League title, so they're going to be going strong all the way to the end. Particularly, they'll definitely be strong by the point of game week 36. So Newcastle and West Ham, we want Cancelo. We possibly want a KDB in there as well. Try and identify those nailed on Man City players. But yeah, there's just loads to look at here, guys. I know you're going to want to really have a really thorough look at this table now and start predicting your teams. So yeah, feel free to take a screenshot. If not, I'm going to be posting this image on my Instagram and Twitter pages. That's at FPL Mate. So feel free to grab the image from either of my socials there and just use it to your own leisure to try and plan something out for the rest of the season. And that, guys, is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you found this useful or interesting. If you did, please do leave a like. Like I say, it really, really helps out the channel. And yeah, I spent a lot of hours trying to work this out for you guys of where the fixtures are most likely to be. Please do subscribe if you're new around here and you want more FPL content. I do stuff pretty much every single day on this channel, which is all good. We're going to be streaming tonight. If you're watching this on Monday, I'm going to be doing a strategy stream after the Arsenal versus Crystal Palace game. So do make sure you tune in for that one. Or if that has already happened, you can go watch the stream replay as well. Aside from that, that's pretty much all I've got to say today. Normal videos as usual. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy, and I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.